Alright, the next piece we wanted to discuss, the final aspect of this presentation in general, is our execution, how it works, and how that works with our two different types of accounts, the desktop or desktop pro accounts and the MetaTrader 4 accounts. So we are an STP with ECN execution broker, and I'm going to walk you through exactly what that means. STP is straight through processing. That means that we route your order to a bank or participant showing the best bid or ask at the time of your trade. And again, we aren't the executor. We simply have a bunch of participants in the system showing their liquidity to us, and a proprietary routing system that analyzes the market at the split second that your trade comes in and routes to the best candidate to get you an execution. But we do not execute trades. And then there's the ECN component, which is the electronic communication network component of our system. And this means that our customer limit orders are held anonymously in-house and can be hit by other customers. So this helps keep spreads tighter, but also allows you to cut right into the spread and show your limit orders to the rest of the market so that they can hit you with a market order. And this is definitely a benefit to most traders. Again, we do both. There's never enough liquidity in one broker's limit orders to provide for executions for all of those customers' market and stop orders. So it's important that you have a lot of banks in your system that you can route orders to as well. Obviously, the more people that display their limit orders on our system, the tighter our spreads will be, and also the faster our executions will be, because a limit order on our system getting hit by another customer's market order, the entire execution occurs on our servers. It never has to leave the building, if you will. So those are the fastest, most fluid executions. But obviously, when you can't get an execution or a complete execution from another customer in-house, then we're routing your trade out to one of the banks in our system. It's also important to note that you can therefore get partial fills on our system. You may be looking to sell 20 lots, but there might be a guy on the bid for 5. So you're going to hit his 5, and then the other 15 are going to get routed out to a bank. So you can get partial fills, which is also something that MetaTrader wasn't originally designed to do. And that's another one of the changes we had to make in our system, was to account for how orders get split by order ID when you run into partial fills at different prices. MBT has our own proprietary routing engine, as I said, and the combination of the two things on the previous slides, the ECN and STP execution with our routing engine, means that we do not trade against your trades. We are the counterparty for all trades because we represent you as an agent in your clearing process with banks and individuals. That's a very important distinction. A lot of people try to point to the account opening paperwork that says that we are the counterparty for all your trades. The reality is that we have very expensive agreements with some of the largest banks in the world, and that allows us to place trades with them all day long, and then at one point, which is 5 p.m. Eastern Time, known as global rollover between all the major banks, everybody stops trading for a few minutes, and it has a settling up point where they pass currency between each other based on the trading that's occurred between the parties net for the day. We have agreements with these banks that allow for that to happen. Obviously, our customers don't have those direct agreements, so we're operating on your behalf, and thus we are the counterparty with those banks as your trades, and we are the counterparty with you. But the reality is that if you see a price, if you get sent an execution through our software of a fill, obviously you're always going to get that price no matter what bank executed it. At the end of the day, we're responsible for passing the money from that bank through to you, or vice versa. Our proprietary routing engine, which has won technology awards from Barron's for stocks, determines the best way for your order to be routed for execution based on the parameters that you give us, whether it's a market order or a limit order or a stop order or a trailing stop, and who's on the bid or ask at the time. If the destination that it selects rejects or moves away, it sends immediately to the next option available as soon as it gets that reject. So it's never, we can process literally thousands of trades in a second. We're getting acceptance and rejection messages back and forth from all the participants, and we just keep going until you get a fill based on the settings that you provide for each order. So when we set out to offer MetaTrader 4 and bridge the execution between how the MetaTrader 4 backend works through what's called the MetaTrader 4 Manager API into our ECN proprietary routing execution system, the reality is that when you open an account with us, you're either opening up an MBT desktop account by itself, or you're opening up a MetaTrader 4 account as a shell on top of an MBT desktop account. Our accounts are all MBT desktop accounts at their heart. When you have a MetaTrader 4 account, we simply turn off the ability to execute directly using all of our order types in our software in the MBT desktop platform. The reason for this is because we have a lot more order types in the MBT desktop software, and they're not compatible with the MetaTrader 4 client software. So we can't allow you to place those types of trades. But at the end of the day, the buying power and all of those buying power checks and account values and everything are based on the desktop software. So what we encourage, or what I encourage, is while you're running your MetaTrader 4 platform, you can also run our desktop or desktop pro software, and you can be logged into both on your system at the same time. And what you see, first of all, I think there's a lot more alerts and messaging in the desktop software that gives you more information as to what's going on, particularly in the order book, but also just buying power issues and whatnot, average cost, and it's easier to monitor that in the desktop. And what you see in the desktop is the final say. The MetaTrader software on the surface as a user interface allows you to buy the euro once, it goes down, you buy it again, and you maintain two separate trades. In reality, that is not FIFO compliant because you have to close out the trade that you entered first. So when MetaTrader allows you to do that, we're not showing you or allowing you to have statements in MetaTrader. You can see your accounts positioned separately in MetaTrader, but you don't get statements out of MetaTrader. Your statements are handled by the desktop software, which is really what your account is based on. And the desktop software will average your trades. So if you buy the euro once, you buy it again, you now have one position at an average price. When you sell some of it, it's closing it out against that average price. So there are times where your buying power will be different, but once you get out of your final trade, all of the numbers, of course, will match off. So we encourage people to A, log on online and look at your statements, but B, keep the MBT desktop software up and running so that you can get all the proper messaging about what's going on in your account while you're trading the MT4 account. And again, the statements are turned off in MetaTrader 4 because even the quote-unquote FIFO compliant ones that they came up with, we didn't feel were adequately FIFO compliant. So we just simply turned off the statements. You can still see your positions in the trade tab, obviously. You can trade and use that as you normally would. For people who are using EAs, that's why we have this available for you from an automated trading perspective. But your accounting is really done at the desktop level. And to sort of continue that point, your statements are available through our website online. They're NFA compliant FIFO statements. You get a separate login to the website when you set up your account with us, and you can go in and view those statements online. You can pick your, whether you want to do monthly or daily or from any time period to view the statements. But those are true FIFO statements, and those are the ones that we go off of from a buying power perspective, but also when analyzing your P&L. And like I said, even though the MetaTrader software will sometimes be different from what you're seeing buying power wise in the desktop software, it is the desktop software that's considered accurate because of the FIFO accounting rules. But at the end of the day, when you close out your final positions, they should match. These statements are accurate and reflect the true P&L in your account at all times. Positions in desktop accounts are averaged and not held separately, as I said. So you're going to end up with slight differences as you're trading. What it doesn't allow you to do is hold on to a bunch of losers while selling winners and accumulate buying power. And even though you may see that on the MetaTrader side, I've seen customers eventually run out of buying power at the desktop level, which is what matters, even though they show it on the MetaTrader level. So I highly encourage you to keep both running at the same time. And really, when it comes to buying power, what this means is that because the underlying account is, the desktop account is FIFO, and there can be buying power differences, the buying power checks are really done at both levels. MetaTrader software does one set of checks, the desktop software does another. Both have to pass in order for a trade to be placed. So it's really the most conservative perspective of buying power imaginable, which we actually prefer. Also, your margin calls are handled on the MetaTrader side. So it is when you get to what is now going to be 50-to-1 leverage that your positions will automatically be closed out, starting with the biggest dollar losing trade in the account from a position perspective. in MetaTrader will automatically close out if you break the new 50 to 1 rule, which goes into effect October 18th of this year. I'd like to thank you for listening to this presentation. If you have questions, you can contact us at the information that you see on this screen, and I'll leave this up for a few minutes. But we're here to answer any questions, and we hope you take a good look at our MetaTrader 4 client software and the ECN execution that we provide. We do have a demo environment for this. We do a lot of heavy testing for upgrades of our bridge in the demo environment. It helps us get through those tests sooner, so we do have occasional issues with the demo environment. Obviously, a demo environment is not sending real trades, so there are some differences between how it operates and how the real live environment operates. You can also trade micros on our system, so a lot of people open an account and actually trade micros, which keep their risk down while they're testing the system, but you're getting true executions, unlike a demo account where you're just basically having a broker tell you what you should get filled at. So you can definitely use the demo environment to test your EAs, test the languages of them, and see how they work. Make sure that they're working properly, get those instant execution parameters out of your EAs, etc. But once you're beyond that, we encourage you to look at trading micros on a live account to really see how the execution works. And we feel pretty confident that